Are we? It looks like we're live. Hi everyone. So we were able to figure out what went wrong. So apparently when Facebook is updating the new page experience that's coming to Facebook, it's really going to mess up a lot of people's lives. So we basically reverted everything back to what they call the classic look. And then once we're able to do that, lo and behold, our icon popped up. So I don't know, Facebook's got some bugs to work out, hopefully, before they launch that product. Otherwise, it's really going to be detrimental to a lot of us that do Facebook Lives using Mevo. So that being said, hi, happy Sunday. Welcome. Today we're going to do a fall wreath using the trendy color. Well, it's not really the trendy color. I think this was Periwinkle is the trendy color for 2022, which is kind of like a silvery purple. So we're going to do the blue truck, the little teal turquoise. Found some new amazing ribbon that I can't wait to share with you. And we're using a different style mesh today. This is called a Fuzz check. So we're going to be using that on our 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. I have it all prepped and ready to go. Total of 6 interior pipe cleaners, and then we're doing 12 to the outside. We're going to be embellishing this with a lot of pumpkins and fall leaves to kind of tie the whole theme in together, kind of giving it a little rustic country flair for the fall. Sign is, I want to say this is hold on, I'll tell you. It's a 6x12, and you can get this sign from Jane's Front Door Decor. So if you go to her website, and Steve's just pinned it, so if you like the sign, go get it. It'll say that there's only one left. Not a major issue. Just contact Jane, tell her you want one of these signs if they happen to be sold out, and I'm sure she'd be happy to get those out to you. So anytime when you do that, when you hit a sign, it usually means that the ones that they had available for print are currently like out of stock. They'll have to print more, but that's usually not an issue with the signs. So some housekeeping rules. Trying to think of like, what do we normally do on a Sunday? So just hi, welcome. I'm happy. Yeah. So if you are on YouTube and you want to get notified whenever we drop a new video, just click that subscription bell in the upper right hand corner. Be happy to have you as a subscriber. YouTubers, feel free that you can comment on your watching of the tutorial. I do go back in there and read those comments daily and reply to them. All right, let's get going. Right? I think we're good to go.
Yeah, she says she's stuck on the tarmac.
Oh no. So you must have been coming home a little bit on the late side. Okay, so people coming back from Crafters Convention, I hope you guys all had a great time. I know I saw plenty of pictures coming through, so it is my goal to rectify that hopefully next year. I'm trying to get my page to come up. There we go. Let me make sure. There we go. I am here. All right, let's get started because we need to get this finished. So this is what I was talking about. This is called a Fuzz check mesh, which means that it's kind of like value mesh, but it has the natural fibers in it. So it's like you can kind of cut through it with a wood burning tool, but the minute that you hit those natural fibers, it's not going to cut anymore. So this needs to be cut with a rotary cutter. These are cut to 20-inch pieces. On average, as long as your deco mesh roll is not cut somewhere in between, which we never know until we get in and start cutting our own deco mesh, you should get 18 20-inch pieces on a full 30-yard roll. 30 foot roll. No, yeah, I wish it was a 30-yard roll. Then we can make a lot of wreaths. So we're just going to do the ruffle technique because we have lots of embellishments. So we want our design low and flat. So people call this the bow tie, the scrunch. We are going to be putting those finished edges towards the inside, finished edges towards the bottom. I always generally will start on the inside. There are 18 pipe cleaners grand total, 6 on the inside. And I usually prep my inside ones so that they're ready to cut. Normally in the past, I go through and remove those as I'm going along. But lately, I've been kind of adding some embellishments or some ribbon in that area around the sign, just so that it feels a little bit more finished for me. So we're going to go in and lay these really quickly.
Hi everybody, just joining.
This mesh was from Craft Outlet. So if you like the mesh, that is where you can pick that up. And it's a really good quality mesh. I'm not seeing a lot of frays. The edges are really nicely done. Sometimes when you get mesh like this, it has those little jagged edges that catch on everything. I don't have it on this so far. Okay. And whenever we're working in a section, meaning a section that has 3 here, I generally won't fluff this one out until I get this one in. So when you do that, the middle one is basically a gap filler for the 2 in each section. So as you can see, I haven't fluffed it yet. I'm waiting to come into the middle. I think originally when I had purchased this mesh, I wanted to do an orange wreath. Like an orange, like the fruit you eat. Because I felt that this looked very, it would coordinate well with a fruit.
Right, guys said the sign for tonight is a fashion vintage sign.
Who said that?
Sue or Sharon?
Sharon?
Yeah.
Fashion vintage.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Like it's an updated vintage.
Yeah, kind of. It's a farmer's market one. I did a similar one like this last year, and we did it in blues. So this one's just a little bit more keeping it simple, standard colors, the orange and whites. Obviously, we're going to pop that blue through here. There's so many different color combinations you could go with using that sign. So I'm going to always take my inside ones, pull them up.
Interesting to match.
What? Yes, this was a challenge to match. So we're into that tertiary color, right? The color in between. People might call that a blue-green or a green-blue. In the box of old-fashioned 64 color Crayola crayons. That was wherever you fell on the color palette. Is it more blue? Is it more green? Who knows? But we'll see how well this mesh covers. So far, I'm loving it. It feels like an orange slice. Like I feel like I'm looking at like a cut orange. Part of the rind.
Juanita, Susan said the mesh reminds me of an old-fashioned orange creamsicle. Yes, that is the color, yeah.
Gotcha. So I saw Linda's comment. I like vintage signs. You are very much like me. I love vintage in everything I do. It is definitely my favorite. Vintage fall, especially vintage Christmas. So we're just going to make sure we get quite a few twists on those. That way we don't have to come back and retwist them. And then this is our middle. So we're going to make sure that this goes under the one preceding it. And we want to make sure we get full coverage underneath because it starts to get a little grabby on the ends. See, like we're filling that section all the way up. We'll use that one for the inside. Just because it's a tighter curl. I like using the ones that are more flat, if possible, to the outside. They just lay nicer. This one is inside, so we're going to lift it forward. We'll go and finish this section. 2 twists, and then we will fluff. We'll make sure this is our middle. So our middle is over the other, just like so, so that we have access to both pipe cleaners. That's what we want. And I'm just gonna lean them that way.
Thank you all for sharing your Sundays with us.
Happy Sunday. For us here, we are summer hibernating in full hibernation mode because it is 106 degrees outside and it feels like an oven. But not the good kind of oven, because if it was a true oven, it should smell like cookies outside. It sure does not smell like cookies.
And said, hello, how are you both doing this evening? Are you doing inside and outside at the same time? Yes.
Yes. So I just take the very next pipe cleaner I come to and just make sure my deco mesh goes in there. You can do all the do all the interior 6 and then come back and lay all your exterior out. I've done it that way in the past, but I just find that this one allows me to kind of configure my deco mesh as I go along in each section. So again, we're going under, making sure this one goes over. This one's going back under so that we're filling that gap. See, the inside ones just fill that gap nicely. And
all 18 pieces are cut to right at 20 inches.
Yes.
Diane.
With a rotary cutter.
Right.
Yeah, because this one contains cotton fibers. The white that you see is all the cotton fibers through here. So this is a new mesh. So if you see it on Craft Outlet and it's called Fuzz Check, this is what you're looking at. So we are grabbing our inside, making sure it covers our gap.
So Sue, yeah, Kat just basically answered your question.
What's that?
Craft Outlet Fuzzy or Fuzz Check fabric mesh.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I saw it and I was like, okay. You know, it's one of those little pop-ups say new product. So I was like, okay, we'll try it. You know, it's either going to turn out to be a good product or a bad product. You know, I actually like it. I think I have this in the sagey green as well. So I'm going to be doing that one for fall as well. So I'm taking my outside one, making sure to fill that section.
Nancy, Kat also asked the same question.
What's that?
She said, this beautiful mesh, where'd you get it? Craft Outlet.
Craft Outlet. Yeah. Wouldn't this make for a really good, you know what I'm saying, like farmer's market oranges?
Yeah.
Or orange slices, like a citrus. Not orange like pumpkin, but it does work for pumpkins too. This would be a nice pumpkin spice design. Because it's got that, you know, pumpkin with the cream inside.
Kind of reminds me of like a fall orange and white tablecloth.
A fall orange and white. Very specific.
Tablecloth?
Yeah, very specific. Tablecloth. Okay. So it's got really good coverage. So it's just going to depend on how you lay your mesh inside. If you do what I do and use the middle to cover the two outside gap, then you should have no problem with your coverage. And I'm always pulling my mesh towards me and rolling or gathering it against the way it naturally wants to roll. So not rolling it up, you know what I'm saying? Make sure. We're taking this one. Here's our inside. I'm gonna pull that down and then I'm gonna take this and make sure it sits right over the top.
Veronica says, do you like it in, I think she said, what type is it? So it's a fabric mesh, so it's very soft.
It's actually, it's not, because the plastic part, the orange, is all the plastic polypropylene, but the fibers, because it is so like it's so wide, It's not hard plastic. It's got a little bit of a softness to it. It's very pliable. Okay, 2 twists. Move this to the inside. And so a lot of people will ask me, how do you get your mesh for your ruffles to lay? It's because I take my time and make sure that when I'm completing each section, I'm really focusing on, you know, the outside edge. This needs to go back up to the middle. And making sure that there's a really nice, consistent overlap. So like right now, I haven't moved this one out. This is just how I laid it in. So this will be our inside. And then we just have 2 more outsides. And then I can't wait to show you the ribbon. This is gonna be to die for ribbon.
Mesh is from Craft Outlet.
I hear him snoring in the hallway from here. We have a cat who just lays in the hallway. I don't even know why. He's not under an air conditioning vent.
He's just so used to you turning on the water for him.
Oh yeah, he's waiting for me to pass by so I can turn his water on in the sink and pick him up. So if he lays in the hallway, you can't help but see him. But I try really hard to ignore him. We think that the drought in California is largely attributed to our cats drinking out of the sink. He just prefers that source.
Lord, with the size of the wreath frame is a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame foam.
Here's an easy formula, because I get this question a lot too. Some people are trying to make a specific size wreath. So if you're using 10-inch mesh on a 14-inch wreath frame, you're basically going to get 5 inches here and 5 inches here, depending upon the method you use. So it should yield, on a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, should yield you a 24-inch in diameter wreath base. Now, if you did an 18-inch form and used 10-inch mesh on it, it'll yield you a 28-inch wreath diameter. Okay, last piece.
Yeah, because most standard front doors, a single door is 30 inches.
36.
36, right? So
36 wide. So there's some people who want a 30 or 32 inch. They just really want a very big statement on their front door. So if your customer said, I need a 32-inch wreath, you're probably going to start with a 20-inch wreath frame and go from there.
Julia asks, how do you stop the mesh from fraying? Hi from the UK. Hi, Julia.
Okay, so if you're using this mesh, there's really nothing you can do as far as cutting it to prevent it. Because it contains the natural cotton fibers in it, you can't use a wood burning tool or an impulse sealer. So rotary cutter, and then spray the whole thing once it's all done, paying careful attention to the edges. And so this method works well because the edges are basically to the center. They're right in here. All this around the outside is not going to fray because that's all finished edge. But spraying with E6000, which is a spray liquid adhesive, it's not going to make everything hard and crunchy. It just kind of helps hold the fibers in. Now, if a customer took it and pulled, of course, they're going to be able to pull the fiber out. It's not like a Gorilla Glue, crazy glue.
Annie asked, so is this a pancake method?
No. So the difference between this and a pancake method is pancake would have 6 on the inside and 6 to the outside. I have 6 on the inside and 12 to the outside. So it's a little bit more thicker. So it's meant to be like full coverage instead of a pancake where you have 6 and 6 and they're basically staggered kind of over the top. Great question though. Okay, ribbon selection. Okay, this is the spare no expense. So we are using a solid rust color because I'm matching this band up here. I usually use my signs to help me color code everything. So the rust is going in on 1.5 inches. That's going to sit on this gorgeous It's like that teal colored blue, and it's the exact teal colored blue with a foil imprint of a leaf. So these two are coordinating together. Okay. And then we're doing this blue and orange plaid, which is kind of picking up the colors in here, the little blue and orange combined. And we're pairing that with these fall berries in that cranberry orange and blue tone. So where did everything come from? Okay, the fall, what do you call it? The fall foil ribbon I got from Jane's Front Door Decor. I actually drove out to see her on Friday, so I picked up some supplies at her shop. So she's kind of closing the shop part for wreath supplies and just focusing on signs. So I went out there and was able to physically see and touch a lot of stuff. So I did pick this up. I also picked up this plaid there, so she had it available. I believe you can find both of them, possibly if they're still available at Craft Outlet. And the rust color, I believe, was from Hobby Lobby. And Craft Outlet, and Craft Outlet for the berries as well. Yeah, so but these are from last year.
The great thing was that if you join a private group, you get the codes and the item numbers and SKU numbers for all the ribbon, the sign, the deco mesh, everything.
Absolutely. That's a perk for my private group members, is they get a detailed list of everything. How many of these, what length were they cut to, where did you purchase it, what is the item number if I want to purchase it. That's one of my perks for group members. And then they also get discounts from like Jane's Front Door Decor, or there's quite a few vendors. No. Three Birds Nest, Personalize It by Pam, Kringle Designs. So 14 inches, we put them in the center, and then I'm going to take my rust colored ribbon. These are cut to 19 inches. These are cut to 14 inches. I like them to end at about the same place my deco mesh ends. So we're going to do a half bow, which is just bring your wired edges together. We're going to gather about 2 inches from the top, just like this. Going to place that right on the inside. Give it a couple twists. I'm actually going to be removing the outside 12 as I go along because I have no need of these. Then we're going to take this leftover piece of pipe cleaner. We're going to take it and tuck it right behind that loop. Then you're going to open the loop, and then you're going to right side the left part of your ribbon, and then allow that to just lay real nicely so you can still see both colors. So just like that. And then we're going to be alternating those with the berries and the plaid all the way around, just on the outside only. So white pipe cleaners are getting the berries with the plaid, and orange are getting the leaves with the rust colored orange. And that should tie our sign in really nicely with the design. And Steve was nice enough, he actually posted the link to the bottom if you'd love to join us. We have our private group currently open. Not only do you get all the design class, you get all of my private group tutorials. You have access to the entire library. So you can go back and watch tutorials from 2018 to current. And those materials lists for those designs as well are also available. What do you guys think of the color combinations? Do you think that these work well together?
Watching design.
Hi Patty, thanks for joining us from Ohio.
Okay. Any gals out there just joining?
So we're doing fall because there's a lot of my clients who don't do Halloween. They just go straight to fall. So after the back to school stuff, they go straight to fall.
Yep. Chris is a good job as always, Kat.
Nice, thank you.
I love the colors. Yeah, the colors really all do go well together.
And they have just the right amount of like glitter, like not all the berries are glitter, just some of the orange.
And even that blue matches really well on that.
Yeah,
So,
this,
yeah.
and it picks up some of the cranberry tones too. That's like in here. And this would take you from September all the way through Thanksgiving.
Hi, Carolyn. She says hi from New Jersey. Love your work.
Hi, Carolyn. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Evelyn. She said, hello, I made a witch hat today.
You did?
You'll have to post it.
I'd love to see pictures. So if you find my video from Friday, which there's another thing too. When we did that Facebook Live, the minute we switched our account back, Facebook dumped that video. So honestly, I don't know. But we reposted it.
Yeah, she said at first glance you would say, what? Those colors?
Right?
You see the sign, you see how it all works together.
Yes. I so agree with you. But this color palette worked really, really well. I can't wait to show you. Okay, so remember how we were talking about the trending colors for this year? A trending color is periwinkle. I actually have a fall periwinkle and plum wreath planned. We'll probably do that on Friday, possibly. As long as I get everything in, just to show you. Because there's some people who follow the trends. They're very trendy. And I love blue. Like I loved blue and yellow in my summer designs. More of the French country look. This is more of a teal or turquoise.
Yep. Deborah said, I absolutely love the blue and the gray. Great. Oh, Linda, that's awesome. She set up, bought a case of the Dollar Tree witch hats, and she split half of them with her neighbor.
Nice. See? That works out really well. So, and we have quite a few of our members that are in the group that found existing members that live close to them in that group, and they do all kinds of stuff together. They craft together. They go to crafters convention together. And then things like that work out well where, hey, you've got a crafting buddy. I ran out of this ribbon. Do you have that? Do you happen to have any more? Do you have that sign?
Yeah, sometimes they shop online together. And
yes. Absolutely. Okay. Love these colors. Alrighty. I know at first, like, when I pulled that turquoise, I was like, I don't think that's the right color. I mean, it's pretty and everything until I put it right next to the truck, and I was like, wow, I would have never guessed that that would have worked. Okay. So Julia says, I've still got the wreath I made for the UK Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration on my door and Jubilee Angels. So you're in the UK. How fun was that? Doing different celebrations. Deborah said, I'd love to find a crafting buddy here in Missouri. So there's your call, Missourians. We have a crafter in need of a fellow crafting buddy. So if you live close by, reach out and connect with Deborah. Okay, back to our plaid. So as you guys are coming in and joining, say hello, let us know where you're from. If you're new here, we'd like to welcome you. So let us know if this is your first time watching. If you like this design and want to save it, so that once you get all your supplies handy, you have the tutorial available, just click the share button at the bottom of this video. It'll share it to your page, and then that way it's so much easier to find it when you're ready.
Hi, Susan.
Hello.
Deborah said, thank you, you are the best.
You are so welcome. I know, right? You never know. You could find a crafting buddy here.
What city in Missouri are you from, Deborah?
Or close to.
Close to.
We are doing rest.
Lee said hello, first time watching. She's in Indiana.
Hi, Lee. Welcome from Indiana.
Leanne, I think.
Leanne. Okay, backing around. And honestly, when you're going around your wreath, you can decide, you know, if you want the berries on top or you want that teal popping on top, then that would just help you determine, you know, which ribbon would lay where.
It was at Fort Leonard Wood.
Oh, nice. I can honestly say I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
Not familiar there. It's hard to believe we're almost 2/3 of the way through summer. You know, we're coming up to the end of July. You know, for a lot of people, they just really have to get through August, and then they start to get that change in the weather in September. We won't get a change in the weather here till like November. It is so time for us to go.
So it looks like she is about maybe 2 hours southwest of St. Louis.
Okay, so closer to the St. Louis, Missouri area.
And yeah.
Ish.
Yep. She's right between Springfield and St. Louis.
Nice. Did you go to the crafters convention? Because wasn't it in? Oh no, that
Indiana.
it was. Yeah, I'm
Right,
thinking
Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, I was thinking Springfield, Illinois, and not. Never mind.
Fort Leonard Wood looks like it's a kind of a military training area.
Gotcha.
Yep, Rita said our son did basic training at Fort Leonard Wood years ago.
Nice. Hi Rita, how are you? Happy Sunday.
I haven't seen Kathy Nunn put it on here. No, Kathy, are you on?
Normally we see, well, it's late night for people because
Yeah,
it's Sunday late night. Okay, last one. Man, it feels like I've been doing this for a very long time. But I have been tying 2 ribbon in each just to go around the outside. And then we'll build our bow. Because the thing I like about the sign is that we have the open area where we can kind of tuck our bow up over, kind of snug it in here if we want. So just the touch of sparkle without being overly sparkly. No glitter. Just good. Okay, let's build our bow. There we go. That's exactly what it looks like right now. So I'm going to set this one aside. We are going to grab my bow dabra. See, there's just a little bit of phrase. So not, not an overwhelming amount, but that would be normal because I was handling all the mesh, putting the ribbon in. So we are going to start with our blue as our base, and then we're going to add our berries. Then we have our plaid, we have our rust, and then I have this really pretty kind of this foil actually matches this foil, so it's like a dual metallic type. So let me see how I like these spread out. And then
Juice, it's Monday morning in the UK. Oh, well, that's true. It's really late for you.
I think that's what I'm going to do. So here's my layout of how it's going to be on my bow. I'm going to finish with the pumpkins. So I'm going to move these to the side. So we're going to put down our blue.
Yeah. That's one thing I didn't know if we said at the very beginning, but for this video, please feel free to like and share since this is in the public group.
Yes, I did on the share part. So on this ribbon, we've got to dovetail the ends. So it just means bring your wired edges together, and then we're going to cut from the folded side down to the wired end. Now, how deep you like your V will determine how high up on that ribbon you need to come. And I like mine fairly deep. Some people just barely put anything on. So we're going to gather at 10 inches. Just like that, and we're going to put a twist in it. So we start with the right side fabric, and then we are going to flip it around, and we're just going to guesstimate. We're looking for 5.5 inches on our loop length, and we are right there, 5.5. So we're going to do it again on the opposite side.
So hi, Cal, I'm in Peoria, Arizona. Where are you from?
We are in Victorville, California, which is out in the Southern California desert. What were we thinking? You know what we were thinking? Cheap housing. There was nobody here 20-something years ago. It was a very small town. And now, because housing is so affordable, a lot of people have decided to move in. So our berries, we're going to do the same way, but we're going to do this one at 9.5 inches. We are going to gather at 9.5. And we'll do that twist. Place that inside. I just thought that the blue would look so nice right on top of that orange. And our loop length on this one is going to be 5 inches. So I always bring it back to the 10, and then I just bring it in until we hit that 5 inches. Flip it up and around. I always try to guess, but then I always just confirm. So we're right there. And then back out 9.5 inches. There's that one. And then we're going to do that metallic copper color. So this is from Shinoda on my last trip to Shinoda.
Thank you, Cindy, for sharing.
We are going to dovetail again a took the ragged edge off because that was the beginning of the ribbon. This one's going to be 9 inches. We're going to gather. This is also the same color of the foil that's on that teal blue. And the loop size on this one is going to be 4.5 inches. So always double check, because like any great recipe, that's how you would turn out a great bow. It's just being consistent in your measurements.
Charlotte said love from Louisiana.
Thank you. Let's make sure that one stays in there so I can cut this.
Hi, gals, just joining.
Welcome. Happy Sunday. There's that one. Oops. And now we're going to grab our plaid. And our plaid is going to be 8.5 inches for the tail length and 4.5 inches for our loop length. So here's 8.5. Twist. And because our metallic is already measured at 4.5 inches, we can kind of take a simple shortcut and just put your fingers in both loops and give a pull on the top one until you're at the same length. Up, over, down. There we go. And then of course, remeasure for your tail at 8.5. Put your finished edge on it. And that one's done. And then we have our rust colored one. Hope they have this color at Hobby Lobby this year. I plan on getting quite a bit. I love the rust. It's like a burnt orange. And this one's going to be 8 inches with a 4-inch loop.
Charlotte, no worries. She said, sorry you're missing your lives between my sister in the hospital and daughter getting married. It's been crazy here.
Oh, I know how that happens. Life.
First.
Family comes first. Always family. Everything else can wait. Okay, right there. And then back out 8 inches. Dovetail edge. Put that in nice and snug. And then our pumpkin ribbon to top off this locally grown pumpkins. I just like all the colors because it's caramel apple cider. Obviously, fall is in the air.
Hi, Irvina. She said they do have that rust at Hobby Lobby.
Yes, that's great. So the last one's going to be 7.5 inches in. Ooh, it's tight because the pumpkins are painted. But that should make a nice finish. 3.5 inch is the loop length. So we just really want to verify that because it makes for really nice.
Oh, Julia, sorry to hear that. She's the one in UK. She said, I should be asleep, but I can't sleep. I'm having all the symptoms of that Omicron COVID.
You poor thing.
Awful. Well,
We'll be praying that
for you. Hope you feel better.
you get over it really quick.
Yeah, Omicron, it's not as bad, but yeah, you.
The lingering symptoms, maybe.
Yeah.
And then we're right at 7.5.
Sue just tried to call me.
Oh. You were welcome to go take that call. Yeah. Because I can do it from my tablet for now. All right. We are going to add a pipe cleaner to this. Let me find an orange one. So, orange, just because it'll blend well with our mesh. I find that just prepping it and then making sure as we lift our ribbon out, we're compressing. Like there's our sandwich. We drop this down, hold it right at the base, and then just twist everything. So much easier. As we get older, our hand strength kind of goes. Okay. There's that. Let me grab my fluff board. So we can take this and give it a good fluffing. So this is a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick fluff board that I had made for me with all the different kinds of woods. 1.5 to 2 inch C hook that you just screw into the center. I know it's probably a lot of people are like, oh, it's a gorgeous cutting board. You put a screw in the middle. Yeah, it was designed just so I'd have a fluff board because it makes a nice presentation when you're selling bows. So here's the simple to how to fluff. So you're going to separate starting at the top of your stack. You have top and bottom. Starting from the bottom, we're taking our tail and our loop, and we're going in opposite directions, to the left, to the right. Go to the other side, and we're going to pull our loop to the right and our tail to the left. This way, they're completely opposite of each other. And then you're just going to go to the next, and we're going to pull our tail to the right and loop to the left. If you want to make any adjustments, you can make those adjustments. There goes our tail. Here comes the loop. So that right now, everything is staggering color choices from our tail lengths. So we're going to go down to the next, which is back to our blue, which is a nice complement of that metallic. Here's our loop. Here's the tail. Go back up to your stack. And we're going to go opposite. So loop and tail. Go to the other side. Here's our loop. Here's our tail. Back up to the top. I'm going to mix this one up so I don't have all of like solid colors. So I'm going to pull this one back the same way. And you can do that as a designer, as long as what you do on the top part of your bow, you do the opposite on the bottom so that the colors match. And then we'll have that pattern. Now go here, and then we're going to pull this here. So now, let me grab all my tails. There's my tails. Here's all my tails here. And then all my loops. So super simple. Everything is nice. And then to fluff, you're just going to grab the top two on the top. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Just put your fingers in the loops and kind of give them a gentle lift. Okay. Then we're going to do the same to the next level. You can decide, you know, do you want your plaid in between and pull your metallic out, which I kind of like. So I'm going to grab my plaid and my metallic and pair those like that. And then we're going to put the berries in between these, and this is where you want to use your 4 fingers. Here's one. There's that one. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Loops. Loops. Just like so. And then, once you get everything all fluffed, lifted, you know, we can put the curls back into our loops. Super simple. All you're going to do, try to get that one to sit inside that. This one does it automatically. Is you're gonna just run them through your fingers, and you'll see how they just turn into a nice little curl. This one. It's easier to do the 2.5 inch when you actually get it on the wreath. But you can pick and choose, you know, what do you want to see where. Just like that.
Alright, so thanks for sharing. Hello from Delaware. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori. Welcome.
James said your method with tying the bow is good. I suffer from trigger syndrome. It's trigger fingers.
I have never heard of that. Okay, we're just going to pop this off the same way we put it on.
Metro, she said, I love a fluffy bow.
I love a fluffy bow too. You should see me when I walk around Shinoda because they just throw bows up on the wall just to, hey, here's ribbon. I'm the person walking down the aisle refluffing all their bows.
Yes.
Because I was like, nothing sells.
I can attest to that. And I'm like, come on. It's your job to fluff bows.
I'm like, yes, it is. If you want to sell the ribbon, you got to fluff the bows. So I'm going to remove the 2 pipe cleaners right here. The whites on opposite sides because that's where my sign is going to go. We're going to tuck that back. And I'm going to remove this one. Just give it an extra 2 twists. Tuck that back in so that now we need to pop holes in our sign. Oh, it's okay. This and this. Okay. So, figure out where you want your sign. I think I want mine kind of like, I like my bow up there. And I kind of like that, like kind of tilted a little bit off. And then our bow's going to kind of go up here in this general direction, give or take a little bit. Kind of like a preview of coming attractions, right? Things to come. So that means I need to put holes in my sign right about here. So I'm just going to take my 1.5 millimeter metal hole punch. You could pick these up on Amazon. Just going to punch a hole in. This is my old one. I can tell because it sticks. Gotten dull over 5 years.
Cameron says, I love this wreath. Fall is your favorite season.
Oh, nice. And it's funny because the colors look a little more purpley than they should. Mm-hmm. Like the cranberry's coming out like a magenta color. Like this color is coming out like purple on mine. So I'm just using 22 gauge floral wire.
Jenny said that mesh is beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, good. She said, I looked out last week. One of my favorite crafters was purging her ribbon supplies and lots of fall ribbon, really cheap.
Nice. That is a really good way to go. So yeah, you can find, like if you're looking for really good deals on craft supplies, try if you go to Facebook and just type in Wreath D-Stash, you'll get people who are just looking to get rid of like maybe excess inventory or people who are just looking to get out. Okay. So I'd like to build my sign from the back so that it actually sits flat and I don't have the sign sticking out to the side. So this is meant to go right below. So we're going to get this one to kind of fit in here. And knowing that, let me turn, because I cut my pipe cleaner here and here. So let me turn it to the way that I cut my pipe cleaner, which is here and here. So this is where it's going to sit. That's my bow home up there. And I have one pipe cleaner down here. So I'll make sure that's out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and anchor this to my frame. Floral wire makes it so much easier. So there's that one. And Lordy, there's this one. We'll pull that in and over. And I usually just kind of push my sign down to approximately where I want it to go and just 2 twists, just in case we need to make an adjustment. Now we're going to come back over here and plop this down. Trying to make sure I hit my make sure I'm pulling some of my mesh out right here, out of the way. Push that down. Two twists. That's out of the way. And then what I do is I pull my mesh from the front. So wherever you have like one of your half bows, I am going to, not this one, I'm going to pull my mesh from here. Not too much because I don't want to see too much mesh in front of my sign, but just enough to feather the edge. Doing it here on the sides as well. What you're hearing is the wire on the bottom. We're going to do the same here. We want to kind of pull this back a bit. There we go. And we'll get that one. There's that edge, this edge. I don't think I'm going to need that, but I'll just leave it there for now. Okay, so knowing these are going to be my bow homes, it's going to take up the whole top part. I'm going to just remove these. Remove this one. Tuck that back down. Grab this one right here in the corner. Tuck that back in. We want to not fluff this up because this is our bow's home. So we don't want to have our bow elevated way up here. We want to have a nice place to place it. So I am looking at, where's this going to go? I'm going to lay this, kind of tuck it in here. Just kind of see where everything falls right now. A little bit off to the side. I think I'd like it right about there, which is right where my orange pipe cleaner was. So get this to go down. I just lightly push it so it doesn't float 6 inches above my mesh, but it also doesn't collapse my bows either. So just take a minute, refresh, refluff everything. Because remember, we couldn't do much with the 2.5 inch while it was there. Make sure all your color combos kind of pop up. We're going to go ahead and open this. Kind of tuck in my mesh down just a touch. Want to pop open all my loops. You just kind of have to help it find a happy home. So, huh?
A happy home.
A happy home, right. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. Tuck that back in. Okay, now we're going to do some subtle embellishing. Right, like there's ever a thing. Settle. Okay. Get rid of that because that is driving me crazy. I'm just going to tuck that back up to the center so that when I spin it, I don't hear "Urgh." Okay.
Rita said there are so many D-stash groups on Facebook. And then Julia said even in the UK, I just checked, had no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's a great place for you to get your supplies.
Linda, honestly, Kat might know, but she said when you de-stash your resupplies, if you sell out of town, how do you do the shipping?
You have to ship
You
it.
just have to check what the calculated shipping rates would be for USPS or...
Whoever has the cheapest rates. So I do have a set of darker pumpkins, which I'm leaning towards. Like maybe tucking one in here, like that. And doing the same thing way over here. He just has to find a comfy home. A happy home. Embellishments need happy homes. So I'll probably go right in here. I kind of like that look. It looks very country homey. So I am using Gorilla Glue in my hot glue gun. Large amount so that it'll sit nice. We're going to kind of tuck it in here. Kind of angle it a little bit sideways. Give it some time to set up. Like this one's nice. It's like right in between.
That glue will set up really well on the deco mesh.
Yeah, it becomes like a net. So same thing. Just fill the bottom. This one's going to kind of tuck right in here. So they're just, I kind of like them angled a little bit in. I hate it when pumpkins are like straight out. I don't know, it's just a pet peeve of mine. I like them to actually, I think I'm going to trim this one just a bit so it'll lay where I want it to stay. There it goes. Yes. And you can feel free to do trims as you need. We are going to add some fall leaves to this wreath because it's in our design. And these are from Michael's. Michael sold these as a pick for like $1 last year. So I'm just going to snip a couple of these off. We're going to kind of tuck these in just below. This one's doing too much. I want to tuck these. They're a little darker than I'd like. They almost blend. Like you can't see them. Let's try the yellow and the red. Yes, these are a little bit nicer. See how we can definitely get a different, and that's almost matches that maple leaf. There's the yellow. Let's see if we can find another one that is more red. I like the red ones. Like those. Doesn't it look pretty? Like it's a nice complement.
You gonna glue as you go?
Huh?
You gonna glue as you go?
I'm gluing as I go. Soon. And there's all kinds of embellishments you can use. You can use fresh cut cinnamon sticks just to give it a nice look. So I'm just tucking those in right underneath my loop. And I'm just gluing the back side of my stem and tucking the stem in underneath my bow, my loop, because that's a nice complementary color. Let's see, I have some little ones that we can use up around the bow, up in here. So we can add that, and we can add one here on the rust, just to kind of tie that maple colored leaf in. Let's go I'm gonna add this one. Right in here. What do you think of the design thus far?
Yeah, just adding all the textures really.
1, 2, 3. Let's see if we tuck some
Here's a
yellows.
gorgeous cat.
Let me look. I'm still
I
looking.
love this design. Give lots of likes and loves, likes and hearts.
We can do some smaller ones. Let's go smaller up higher. Same color combo instead of the yellow. Save the yellow for a different day.
This is really pretty. Yeah, James, I love it.
Right in there.
Little secret deliveries.
Yeah, little secret hidey holes. I think there's one right underneath here. And yes, I do. Even in the little hidey hole areas. We make sure we just finish the design out. We're going to do the ones in our bow. We'll tuck our leaves in. I'm going to tuck it underneath my bow for now until it dries. Otherwise it'll stick way out. But I think we are finished with our design. So there you have it. As soon as it catches up and we have everything there, you can come back in. You can add little acorns. You know, you can tuck little acorns in. I'm not going to do it because we're not doing any acorns in this one, but take this and flip it. There we go. There you go. So there is our entire design. Perfect for fall. It's just a different look for fall. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Do you guys have any questions at all? Just addressing some phrase. Wherever you touch it, you know, until you get it all situated.
Yeah.
You're gonna have those little pops.
That's awesome, good.
Thanks.
Thanks, and absolutely fabulous.
I'm trying to pull it back so you can see the whole thing. I think that did it, right?
Yeah.
Trying to make sure it's all in there. Maybe I pushed it too far. Yeah, I did.
Good.
Right there. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. How big did that wreath end up becoming?
Yeah.
Let's look. So I measure from deco mesh to deco mesh, and it's 25 inches. So 25, and it's going to be about 6 inches, depending upon, you know, the top of the loop all the way to the bottom. Sometimes it's only 5.5, but that's the finished design. So it's going to look great. I can't wait to go out and take pictures of it on our blue door. So yeah. We'll see how much this will pop, and I'll share pictures.
This is still fitting at 24 inch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, whatever's left, and have a blessed week next week, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great night, everyone. Bye for now.